Hey guys, it's Heather from Kell of a Plan, and I am here today filming a video that has been highly requested, and that is using a teacher planner as a teacher would. So I'm no longer a teacher, but for those of you who've been watching my channel for a while, you know I used to be a teacher. So I was a teacher for 9 years. I taught in the classroom for 6 years, and I was an instructional specialist for 3 years. And I loved teaching, and I loved using a planner when I was teaching. I now use the teacher layout as my social media planner. So you'll see me use this planner a couple of different times on my YouTube channel, but I haven't done a video on how like a regular teacher would use this. I don't think I have a single video on how a regular teacher would use this layout, because even when I was using the teacher layout when I was at work, I was an instructional specialist, and so it still looked different from how a normal teacher would use it. But I do remember what normal teaching was like, and so I am going to use this to kind of show you guys how I would use this planner. My last 4 years of teaching, I was a middle school teacher. So I taught 5th grade, and then I taught 4th grade, and then I went to middle school and I taught 7th and 8th grade, and then I was an instructional specialist at an elementary school. But my last years of like actual classroom teaching were in a middle school setting, and so you might see this look kind of like how a middle school teacher might use it, which might be a little bit different. I know a lot of people say that this is more geared toward elementary, but I think it's also great for middle school teachers. So I picked up this planner last week at my local Michael's store. Many of you will know that they put these on like mega clearance and in grab bags. And so my store had them in grab bags where you could get like 5 for $4. So I actually bought a bunch of them and I gave them away to teachers in my shopping boutique. But I kept this one for myself, one, to do this video with you guys, but also because I just love these discs. And I think these discs might be cute on like a Christmas planner. And so I may end up taking this planner off of the disc and just keeping the disc, because you might as well when the planner only costs you $1. So I'm going to flip to a date in August. So this will be dates that obviously have already passed, but I'm just showing you guys how I would use this layout as a teacher. So it's okay if the days are in the past, because honestly this is fake planning anyway. So these washies here came with the box. This was a box kit. And then these stickers also came with the box kit. So I'm going to be using the stuff that comes in the kit. But I also pulled out this teacher sticker book that was in the last release, because I'm going to probably end up using some of these stickers as well. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to label the different categories at the top. This is a little bit different for me, because when I use this planner for social media, I cover the dates and I put them at the top. So it's a little bit different, but I will say that if I was still teaching, this is how I would do it. So I taught reading language arts. It was a dual combo class. And so I only taught 3 sections, and then I also taught yearbook. So that's how I'm going to split this up, is I'm going to split it into 3 sections, yearbook, and then these are going to be other sections. So I am going to label this section 1 and section 3. Section 2, so that would be like, all 3 of these are ELAR classes, but my first section, my second section, and my third section. And then this one, I'm going to label yearbook. Okay, now I have 3 more columns, and the way that I'm going to divide these up is I'm going to say that one of these is going to be a planning column, things that I need to plan for my classes. I was always the kind of teacher who was planning ahead and preparing ahead and making sure that everything was ready to go. And so I always wanted to know, like, what do I need to do today? Not to just be prepared for tomorrow, but to be prepared for the whole week and even starting next week. So this column, I'm just going to label it planning. Plus we would have a whole, at the middle school I taught at, we had like an off period, but we also had a planning period. And so this is a good period for that as well. Here, I'm going to label this training because I feel like we were always having trainings to go to and things to do for the trainings. And then this one, I'm just going to label important. And in this column, it could be parents I need to call, things I need to follow up on, meetings that I have with parents or with administration, or paperwork I needed to do, whatever it is, I might do it there. So my first suggestion, if you're a teacher, is, if you're a middle school teacher especially, is fill in your classes and then your extra boxes. What are things that you find yourself doing over and over again that you can plan for? And that's what I would label these. If I was an elementary teacher, I would probably label these like reading, writing, math, science, social studies, training, important, or something like that. Whatever your categories are, label them at the top, and then you have a column for each of those. And so then I am going to take this sticker that says learn, grow, achieve. I'm just going to put this in the bottom corner as decor. Okay. And then, like this says lesson plan. And this is a planning. So here, I can put this sticker. Important, I can put this sticker. Okay, now over here I have my 3 sections. What I'm going to do I would track different things in these sections. And so it really depends on you and like your schedule. That's the thing with teacher planners, is so much of it is dependent on your school, your schedule, how your school handles things. But I think what I would do is I would write on each day what we're going to be doing. And if we're going to be doing it across the classes, then you could just write it across the classes. So if we were doing ELAR, maybe on Monday we have a lesson on character traits. Okay, so I could write the lesson, and then what I would probably do, because I did a lot of small groups, even teaching middle school, I taught in a lower income area, and so small groups were still essential, even teaching 8th grade. I would probably then group my small groups. And then I probably wouldn't write the whole kid's name because they wouldn't all fit, but I could put like initials for the kids that I know I'm going to need to pull in a small group. after I teach this lesson. So I would teach the lesson, and then I'd have like, not stations, but different activities for the kids to be doing that relate to it. And then I would be pulling small groups, and I could go ahead and plan what students I needed to pull groups in, or maybe I just write it in like at my desk. Like I can just have this next to me and fill in what kids I pull so that I can remember which kids I've worked with and which kids I haven't. So then here on Tuesday, I'd probably do the same thing, because most of my classes were on the same lesson schedule. So maybe on Tuesday, we talk about character, motives, okay? And again, maybe I do small groups that day. I didn't do small groups every day. But I did do them fairly often. Okay. Then maybe on Tuesday, we used to have to take so many assessments. I mean, the assessments you have to do in public school are insane. And so maybe Wednesday, is benchmark testing. Although it probably wouldn't have been benchmark testing on July 31st. I probably should have looked at the dates, but this is just an example, so just go with it. Okay, benchmark testing. And then maybe after benchmarks, I would look at the data and I would break it into different categories for the class. So these might be different things that I'm doing each day, depending on the needs of the class. So it could be that this class needs to go over theme. And this class needs to go over, or these two classes need to go over plot. And maybe this class needs theme. Okay. And maybe I put activity 1. And activity 2. And so on. Okay. And then, because it's not super decorative, my teacher planner was never super decorative because it needed to be planned. But I would have taken some washi and put it wherever I could squeeze in some decor. So, put some there. Could put some over here. Okay. Maybe here on important, because they benchmark tested that day. I could put make new groups based on data. It's kind of hard for me to do this without like real plans. If I had like real lesson plans, I could show you how I would plan it, but it's kind of hard to like do this when I don't have actual lesson plans in front of me. Training, usually on Wednesdays, we had staff meetings. So I could say staff meeting at 3:30. For yearbook, I could write things like on Thursday. Two people need to photograph football game tonight. And then up here, I could say 2 people need to photograph volleyball game tonight. Write that in. This could be finish lesson plans for next week. Up here, I could say call parents, especially at the beginning of the year. It's always good to call parents with good news at the beginning of the year so that when you have to call with bad news later on, it's not the first time you've talked to them. So I could make a list of parents that I want to call over there. On Thursdays, I usually like to make sure that all of my copies for the next week are ready. So that could be Thursday. And so on. I know it's not like totally filled out, but I hope that this kind of gives you an idea, especially as a middle school teacher. I hope this kind of gives you an idea of how you could make this layout work for you. It would be similar for a elementary teacher, except you probably wouldn't have like the same stuff across. You would have different subjects. But this could also work for high school if you teach high school. So anyway, that's how I would use it. If I had actual lesson plans in front of me, I could have filled this out better, but it's been 1.5 years since I've been a teacher and like 4 years since I've been in the classroom. So it's kind of hard for me just to come up with stuff, but I hope that it at least kind of shows you some ideas of how to use this as a teacher. So if you like this video, I hope you hit the like button. If you want to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button, and happy planning.